Good? Okay, good to see you. All right, today message title is The Lord Determines, okay? But let's read the scripture first. Okay. Do you like the background? All right, this is the scripture. I don't know, there's a problem with Can you go to the next slide? Okay, thank you. All right, the Bible verse is from the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and chapter 19. Let's read in one voice, okay? Okay, chapter 16, 9. 시작. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Next one. You can make many plans, but the Lord's purpose will prevail. This is word of God of the people of God. Thanks be to God. All right. So, guys, today is the first Sunday of 2014. You guys know it, right? So, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Do you have any New Year's resolution or any specific plans for this year? Exercise, okay. Exercise, be in shape. All right. People, especially in this time of the year, they tend to plan something new or set up new goals or make new resolutions. People buy new diaries, new calendars, right? And new planners. And some people write their new goals on the post-its and hung it on the wall, right? I believe some of you already have something like that. The scripture we read today, can you go on next slide? Also talks about human plans. Chapter 16:9 said, we can make our plans. 19:21 said, you can make many plans. Human being, and obviously, what the scripture describes, the human make plans, right? Human beings make plans. But the scripture also tells us something else in the following, starting with but. But is always an interesting word in Bible. So, can you go to the next slide? 16:9, followed by we can make our plans. But it said, but the Lord determines our steps. Chapter 19:21 said, you can make many plans, but the Lord's purpose will prevail. What does it mean? The meaning of this Bible verse look pretty obvious, right? That we human beings have plans, but God's plan is bigger than ours. We human beings have plans, but God's plan is bigger than ours, period. That's the message for today. So, we're done. It seems like really simple and very crystal clear Bible verse. But what does it mean to you guys? What does this simple message, simple Bible verse tells you? Does this Bible really ring a bell to anyone? To find out something that we could find the meaning out of the scripture, I think it would be helpful for us to dive into the meaning of the scripture. So to begin with, I don't know if you like mathematics. Who likes mathematics? Oh, Tyler and Austin? Okay, good. Do you guys know by any chance, do you know the theory of set? Theory of set? Subset? I'm sorry, that's what I'm going to talk about. Actually, let's say my plan is A, guys. My plan is A, and God's plan is B. Like you can see, the red dot there, red circle. I draw it by broken dot, broken circle, because we don't know God's plan for sure. So I just, make that pretty deep, right? Anyway, so let's say plan A, my plan is A and God's plan is B. According to the scripture, the Lord's plan always determines and prevails my plan. So my plan, which is set A, the blue circle, is subset of God's plan, which is set B, the red circle. Or my plan is contained in God's plan. That's what we can get out of the scripture, right? You guys can follow me, right? Okay. You guys are good at mathematics. Good. All right, but we can find something interesting from the picture. Can you go on to the next slide? No, previous. Okay, one more. Okay. Let's say someone's plan, like plan A, someone's plan is small and tiny set, just like you can see in the picture. What can you tell from the picture? This implies that this person's knowledge or understanding of God is as small as the size of the circle, right? As small as his or her plan. Can you go into the next slide? In contrast, let's say someone else's plan is big, as you can see in the picture. This implies that this person's knowledge or understanding of God is as big as the size of the circle, as big as his or her plan. What this means is that depending on the size of your plan, you may experience the different size of knowledge of God. If you have a big plan, you may understand the big God. If you have a small plan, you may acknowledge with small God. This might sound strange to some of you guys. You might ask me, Pastor Ho, what do you mean? God is God. How come then God can be big God and how come God can be a small God? What I meant by the size here is not the meaning of the size of God, because God is God. God is one God. But what I meant was size of a knowledge of God could be different. Okay? So let me explain more. Can you go into the next slide? Before we begin, I want you to focus on previous one. Okay, we need telepathy. Okay, all right. Before we begin, I want you to focus on this word, plan. Okay, plan, because that's the key word from the message today. Plan. I think we all agree that we all have plans, and that plan varies from person to person. You guys have New Year's resolution, but I believe everyone has different plans, right? But what we also need to understand is that there are different kinds or different size of human plans. So we should ask, what is different? How come human plan is different? And how is it different? And what makes it different? One correct answer is that a plan varies depending on what we desire to achieve or what we intend to do. A plan varies depending on what we desire to achieve or what we intend to do. Let me give you a brief example. Let's say Michael is extremely hungry now. That's your desire. You want to eat, right? You're extremely hungry, so you want to eat. What do you plan? You might plan, to eat, right? Because that's what you desire. You're extremely hungry. That's what your desire, and that's what you're planning for. Let's say we have seniors here. But let's say you are intending to get into a good college. What do you plan? Yes, you plan to study and plan to apply to the good college. Likewise, humans make plans according to what we desire or what we intend. If we desire this, we plan for this. If we intend to do that, then we plan for that. So it is important to understand what kind of desires we have, because different desire produces a different plan. Are you guys following me? Huh? So what kind of desires you have? Have you ever thought about that? What kind of desires I have? There is a theory, thank you. There is a theory in psychology called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. From this model, what we can learn is that there are 5 different levels of human needs or human desires. Have you heard about this theory? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, first time. Good. Okay? All right. New thing is good, right? Okay, can you go to the next slide? The very bottom of the picture tells you that there is a physiological needs for human beings. Physiology. What a big word. But simply it means this. Without it, human dies. That's what it means. Without it, human dies. Like water, air, food, sleep, or pooping, right? Without it, human dies, This is a very basic and essential human desire. Therefore, we must plan to drink, eat, sleep, and poop. We must have a plan for that. Nothing wrong with those plannings. Even so, however, we need to remember this. We can make many plans to drink, eat, or sleep, or poop, but the Lord's purpose will prevail. Can you go into the next slide? Let's jump into the upper level from the scripture, from the picture. safety and security. Humans have some kind of desires for that. We all desire to be safe and protected. That is why we wear warm clothes in this cold weather and plan to save money to prepare for an unexpected financial crisis, or eat healthily or exercise regularly in order to prevent from having illness, to be healthy, right? We all have something like that kind of desires. We all have desires to be safe and secured, and we make plans for that. Can you go to the next slide? But let's look at the upper level, love and belonging. Humans also have desires to be loved or to belong somewhere. We all desire to be accepted by others, right? And that is why we plan to spend time with families, with friends, or try to be likable to someone you like. You plan to achieve that love, belonging, and acceptance. That's one of kinds that human desires. And you go to the next slide. And from upper level, we can find that humans have a desire to have self-esteem. What this means is that you want to be a valuable person, VIP, very important person. Everyone have some sort of desire for that, right? We want to have a higher self-esteem. We want to be a valuable person. So that you desire to be recognized by others or respected by others. Getting into a good college or getting a high salary job, being popular in the class are all anchored to the desire to have a higher self-esteem, to be more valuable person. And that is why you plan to study hard, be a good person at the school to attain more recognitions, more acceptance by the people around you. What is the last one from the picture? What is it? Last one. Tyler. Actualization. Okay, it's a big word too. Thank you. All right. The last human desire is something related to self-actualization. As a human being, we also have a desire to experience the self-actualization. What does this mean? Self-actualization. By definition, it means that we actualize our full potential to be a human being. In other words, it is a state of freedom, I would say. A freedom from what other people talk about you. It is a state of freedom that, I don't care about what other people are saying. I'm just being who I am. It is a state of freedom that you become you. A freedom you know the truth because the truth will give you the freedom. But we need to remember that, we can make many plans to know the truth, to be who we are, but the Lord's purpose will prevail. Anyway, we have seen that there are different kinds of desires, right? There are different kinds of desires, and we make plans according to them. So I wanted to examine your plans for this year for a minute. And I wanted to examine what kind of desires I have, and what kind of plans I have. Which category does your plan fit into to that model? Some of your plans will be linked to get more recognition by others. And something you want to, be more successful by getting into a good college or getting a better grade. Or your plan will link to loved by the people you like, or to be secured, to be protected, or to meet your physical needs. But here, you need to understand that we should not blame or underestimate those desires at all. Those desires, are not, invaluable at all. They are all valuable desires. They are the essential part to be a human being. Nothing wrong with those desires. But the problem is, can you go to the next slide? But the problem is that not many people nowadays, I think, are desiring for the self-actualization. Not many people are actually, planning or having desires for that. Thus, no plans to achieve that because they don't have any desire. Not many people nowadays are not asking questions like, what is the truth? Who am I? Where am I going? What am I living for? What should I know or what should I be to true me, real me. People are afraid of asking those questions or feeling they have no time or no need to search for those. Since we don't plan such plans, there is no experience of God. I would say big God who prevails those desires and plans. If we plan for the fullness of life, search for the truth and freedom, we'll surely meet the bigger realm of God's plan. But the public school doesn't teach you that, right? Can you go to the next slide? So here's the thing. What is a church, guys? I think church has to be the place where people desire and start having desire and ask those kind of questions. And when we knock the door, when we seek, we can find. Because, like the Bible verse we can see, we can read, human plans are always prevailed by God's plan. So when we plan this much, we can see or we can acknowledge the bigger plans. We can have a bigger knowledge of bigger God. I think that's what Christians, have to be, and I think that's what Ashburn KUMC use, has to be. The people who have some kind of longings and who can desire, who start desiring, to search, to seek, that kind of things. So as of 2014, I really hope and pray that our church and youth ministry have a desire to find the truth and freedom and plan to achieve that throughout this year. And the Lord will definitely determine our plans in His bigger and better way. So I want to read Bible verse together one more time, just reminding what I just shared with you guys today. So let's read one more time. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. You can make many plans,